So Rudy Gobert was just traded to the Minnesota Timberwolves for about 4 first-round picks: Walker Kessler, Malik Beasley, Jared Vanderbilt, and Patrick Beverley. So me personally, I'm not a huge fan of Rudy Gobert. He's getting paid so much money, $40 million. I think it's about to be $45 million in like a couple years. And giving up 4 first-round picks, and I guess 5 Walker Kessler, but I don't think Walker Kessler's really all that. I think he was easily just drafted way too high, so that doesn't really matter. You pretty much just traded away a guy who's not going to be in the league in 4 years. I'm sorry if I'm hating, but that's just how I think. But yeah, I'm not big on Rudy Gobert. But I like to be positive on YouTube, because if you're negative about any team, they're going to start hating you and disliking you, and I've gotten way too much of that on my channel. And anyways, I might even make a negative video about this on my channel in a couple days, but for now, let's think about the positives. I'm going to say every kind of positive that I think about this trade, because there are a ton. For one, and this is like the biggest one for me, I did not think that the Minnesota Timberwolves were 100% going to be a playoff team like before this trade. Like, just if we just go down the line, the Phoenix Suns, even if they lose DeAndre Ayton, and especially if they get Kevin Durant, even if they lose DeAndre Ayton, they didn't really utilize him. They kind of used Ayton as a regular big, so you replace him with anybody, and they're still going to be like a number 1, 2, 3, 4 seed in the West. The Memphis Grizzlies, nothing has changed besides Jaren Jackson Jr. being hurt, but he's only going to be hurt for the first like 2 months, and even without Jaren Jackson Jr., I mean, he fouled out a lot of games anyway. They're definitely going to make the playoffs. The Warriors are definitely going to make the playoffs. The Mavs have gotten even better in the offseason. They're going to make the playoffs. The Jazz are going to drop. Nuggets are going to make the playoffs for sure. Pelicans for sure. Clippers for sure. There's just so many teams. Maybe next year the Wolves without Gobert would have slid into that 8th spot. And maybe that is, enough to make the playoffs, and maybe you're happy with that. But I didn't really think of them as solidified, and now I kind of do. With Rudy Gobert, who I think is a regular season player, which is not a bad thing. You need the regular season. If you are not good in the regular season, then you literally cannot be good in the playoffs, because you didn't make the playoffs. So now I definitely think they're like a top 5 seed. Like, even some teams like the Clippers, even though I think they'll be good in the playoffs. I mean, Paul George and Kawhi not only sit out of a lot of games, but they are a little bit injury prone. So you know what? I could really see the Timberwolves being a top seed in the West. And I also think Karl-Anthony Towns would be really, really good at that 4 spot. I mean, the only kind of downside with Gobert being at the 5 and Karl-Anthony Towns at the 4, and actually Cat's a really good shooter, but with Gobert, the paint is kind of clogged for Anthony Edwards, which can be kind of a problem. And Cat drives to the basket a lot too, and you especially want him to do that more at the 4 spot, because he's going to be a lot bigger than a lot of the power forwards. People forget Karl-Anthony Towns, even if people say he's soft on defense or even soft on offense, he is a 7-footer, and he still has a post-up game. He has, having a really good playmaker at the 5 really helped the Timberwolves, and now having Gobert at the 5, who can't really play make. But you know what, Gobert's here for one thing only, and that's defense. And even though there's a quote of Anthony Edwards saying like, hey, Rudy Gobert, he's nothing to be scared of. No one is scared of him. And now they're teammates. I think that's going to be hilarious. I wonder if that's ever going to be brought up between teammates. That would be kind of funny. But yeah, now I'm just wondering, so what is the offensive game plan going to be? Is it going to be like Anthony Edwards and Rudy Gobert pick? Because it has to be pick and rolls. Rudy Gobert is a pick and roll big, and he can't really do anything else. So is it going to be Anthony Edwards and Rudy Gobert pick and rolls? And then how does Cat really fit into this? I don't know. I kind of like their system without Gobert, but adding Gobert is never a bad thing unless he gets played off the court. But I mean, he might not get played off the court now, because the Minnesota Timberwolves, they have a lot of underrated defensive players on the team where, I could see someone saying an angle of the Timberwolves actually having the talent already. I mean, talent-wise, they should have beat the Memphis Grizzlies in the playoffs. It's just the fact that they played so dumb, and it was their coaching. And even though maybe you do want to give Coach Finch one more year, they just played so dumb, and I feel like offensive consistency is what they needed. Because I mean, D'Angelo Russell, he's a good defender, and I understand people saying that D'Angelo Russell was playing so bad in the playoffs, but he was showing up on defense. Anthony Edwards, a really good defender. Vanderbilt, I guess he got traded, but he was a good defender. Jaden McDaniels is a good defender, or is it? No, it is Jaden. And maybe Karl-Anthony Towns now could actually be a good defender at the 4. So I think they needed more offense, but I think this can definitely help them. But yeah, I wonder who they start at the 3, because they have Kyle Anderson, they have Jaden McDaniels, they have Taurean Prince, who they just re-signed. But yeah, what I am scared of this trade is Patrick Beverley not being there, because Patrick Beverley really brought out the energy out of, Anthony Edwards pretty much already had the energy, but Karl-Anthony Towns, D'Angelo Russell, they almost showed like not that much energy until Pat Bev showed up. So I think there is going to be a lot of pressure on Anthony Edwards to be kind of the vocal leader of the group. And yeah, I think if the Minnesota Timberwolves just make it a priority, and Rudy Gobert also needs to make it a priority to just feed Gobert, and Gobert needs to actually learn to catch it and not turn it over and actually slam dunk. Like, if you could just, if Karl-Anthony Towns could still be a vocal part of the offense, and Rudy Gobert is just kind of sitting on the block waiting for the lob, and he can actually just catch the lobs, because people forget, people just think that Rudy Gobert wasn't being passed to, but it was always for a reason, because a lot of times, he would just fumble the lob, or he would just, get the ball under the paint and just, he doesn't do anything with it. And I just really hope he could take advantage of mismatches, and he's just a better player. Even though he's like 30, a lot of the things he needs to improve on is things that you can learn. It's not like physical tools that, you lose when you're getting older. And I mean, I can see a problem where the Minnesota Timberwolves now, because they gave up Malik Beasley, and I understand Malik Beasley was not very good for the team, at least, last year, but now they kind of don't have a scoring sixth man. So I wonder, are they always going to have one of D'Lo and Anthony Edwards or Karl-Anthony Towns on the floor at all times? Because yeah, I mean, right now, I guess their sixth man would be like a Kyle Anderson, who, I mean, he was a bench player for the Grizzlies, but he was definitely not the scoring option off the bench. That was definitely either Tyus Jones or Melton. But yeah, I mean, that's what I'm thinking for the regular season. When it comes to playoff time, I feel like they can make it out of the first round in some scenarios. It's just that you cannot go against a team like the Clippers, who aren't very center-minded, who can just run small ball, because that's kind of Rudy Gobert's weakness. But if you go against a team that has Jokic, I mean, I know every time that Jokic and Gobert go against each other in the playoffs, Jokic always is really good. But I think maybe in a playoff series, that isn't, I think the last playoff series they played was the bubble, and that was like, what, 2 or 3 years ago? I think Gobert can actually get the best of him. Not, being able to stop Jokic, not outplaying Jokic, of course. But yeah, I mean, they were so close to beating the Grizzlies this year. I think they could beat them again. The Warriors, probably not. The Pelicans, maybe, just because Zion is so... I mean, we haven't seen Zion in the playoffs, and maybe he is very easy to game plan against because he can only just score inside, which, I mean, I just saying that makes me feel like I'm underrating Zion, but that's just kind of his game at the end of the day. The Lakers, they could probably beat, even though I don't see a scenario where the Lakers and Timberwolves play in the playoffs, maybe like the play-in. But yeah, if I'm a Timberwolves fan, man, you have a lot of talent now. Now, you're going to have to make it work. You're going to have to make things fit. Karl-Anthony Towns playing the 4. He's not really used to that. I don't think he ever really did that unless Naz Reid was on the floor at the 5. But I mean, you have a whole 82 games to do it. And with Rudy Gobert on your team, your defense, like, man, the Jazz had almost no defensive pieces besides like Royce O'Neal, who is 6'4" and plays the power forward position. Having D'Lo, having Ant, having Prince, having McDaniels, having just all these defensive pieces now, they are like definitely at least a 5 seed. So at least just get there. You'll have the whole 82 game season to get your whole offensive game plan correct. And 82 games is a long time. So I think they'll definitely get it ready. And maybe even if they don't do that good this year because they have to get used to everything, maybe next year. The only other question I have is, trading for Rudy Gobert. You're trading for a 30-year-old guy. By the time his contract ends, he'll be like, what, 34 years old? What is the end goal here? Is your end goal, are you trying to win a championship by the time Rudy Gobert's contract ends? And is that really realistic? I don't know, but we'll see with the Timberwolves, man. I'm excited to see him play. Yeah, if you guys enjoyed the video, hit the like button. We are so close to 500 subscribers. Let's hit that by Monday, man. Let's do it. And then comment what kind of video you guys want next. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be dropping a Kevin Durant video, maybe even a Hawks DeJounte Murray video, maybe a Malcolm Brogdon video. I don't know. Just let me know, and peace.